When you open these in your house, it's gonna smell terrible. It's gonna smell awful. Everyone in the house is gonna be like, what the f just happened? But they're delicious.
Today on Don't Panic Pantry, we are making clam chowder in the style of the great Ari Kolender, dear friend, excellent chef, and specialist in all things seafood, including his restaurant Found Oyster here in Los Angeles. Talk to me a little bit about your clam chowder, and I guess start by telling us what it's not.
It's not a chowder, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I've never.
Are there clams in it?
There are clams. We have clams. They're from a can from the sea. The consistency of this chowder is more soupy than chowdery. When you think of chowder, you think of something that you could stick a spoon straight up in.
Gotta be rich and thick. See how my fork stands up?
Which is not the case for this. The approach is a little bit more refined, just in thought, not in execution. So
when you made this recipe for your restaurant, had you had New England clam chowder yet in New England?
Never. I went to New England for the first time a year ago. Got to see the oyster farm out there. It was amazing. Had terrible clam chowder the entire time. There is a way to apply a New England clam chowder properly, and it's like gravy. Like I might make that into gravy.
Yeah.
And put it on a steak. Who knows?
Yeah.
To chowder, we start with olive oil just to get a little fat in the pot, render out this bacon, this smoky bacon. We like to use Neuske's bacon. I don't like to just put this in by itself because it can brown very easily, but if you start with a little fat, it just helps everything out, helps release the fat faster. Then we add a holy trinity over here. We've got onions, fennel, leeks, we've got celery, we've got garlic. All that stuff goes in, starts reducing down. We add a little black pepper, all these great aromatics. For the sake of time, we use canned clams. It's also a stable product, right? Like, let's say...
Something that could go in your pantry, so to speak.
Correct. Definitely. And you know what you're gonna get.
And then potatoes?
And then after that, it's just all in. We go clams, clam juice, cream, potatoes. We're not trying to boil it away. We're not trying to reduce it by half. We're just trying to cook the potatoes. Once they start to deteriorate and get rounded, that's when it's done.
1.5 teaspoons of flour.
Yeah, just a little bit. You can omit it if you're gluten intolerant.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. The potatoes will thicken up that soup if you just cook it a touch more.
You want to show the good people how to tie a herb bundle?
Oh yeah. String. But I like to put the bay leaf down first so that everything just kind of gets contained in there. It makes it a little bit easier to pick up. So I'll pinch one side and start wrapping until this side of the string gets down to about right there. And then we go the other way.
I was going to make a joke about how great you made it look, but actually you did make it look very good.
I've done this before. We can go ahead and add our oil to the pot. So I just do enough to coat the bottom of the pot right there. All the bacon in. Let's get the bacon moving. So we're not looking for this bacon to get super crispy. We're just trying to let it release all of its fat so that we can then use that to cook everything else. So a little bit of fond on the bottom of the pan, which means we're ready to go. We got our leeks, fennel, yellow onions, celery, and then a few beef thymes, my good man, the garlic. Just tap that in there. Look at that little trick. So I'm just gonna mix it for a second just to get everything together, and we're gonna add a pinch of salt. So this is looking great. We got our vegetables are sweating down. All the fat and liquid that came out of the veggies is gonna mix with this little bit of flour.
It's like a bear roux.
Basically, yeah. So just mix that in. Look how easy this is.
I feel like I'm not pulling my weight.
Hand me those clams.
Don't f this up. Don't f this up.
All right.
You don't want it to be a full boil, right?
Yeah, well, so yeah, we got everything in the pot now. And we're gonna turn it back up to high, bring it to a boil so that we can bring it back to a simmer. So we are about 10 minutes in, I imagine. We're just waiting for these potatoes to cook. The soup is definitely, needs to reduce slightly more. It's still a little milky there. but the potatoes are not cooked yet.
And that'll also thicken the broth.
Starch is cooked, they disintegrate into the broth, they thicken it up. That's why there's only a little bit of flour in here, is because we're relying on the best ingredient in the world to do its job.
Homemade potato starch.
Exactly.
Let's say I made this in the morning and I wanted to serve it again tonight. Can I just leave it on the stove and reheat it for dinner, or would you want to chill it down?
You could make this a couple hours before you were serving it.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're ready to shut it off, we could sit for a couple hours on the stovetop, say 2 max, to be heated back up to a boil before you serve it. The thing about the soup too is you get the best of both worlds. You have that delicious broth, but it's a stuffed soup. This is like Campbell's chunky soup, right? It's got all this stuff. It's the way I like to eat my soup.
So you are keeping this heat very low right now. It's not even really bubbling. Is that on purpose?
No, it's just a mismanagement of flames.
Company funds.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to. If you come a little, this is what we want to see. So the potatoes are looking good. It's still like, I mean, that's kind of the shot right there, right? You see all this like looks like Swiss cheese a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, see how easy that just falls apart. So right now, I just turned the heat off, and we're gonna do a little taste test for salt, just because every canned clam is different. If you don't get Bar Harbors or whatever the case is, every dairy is different. How sweet is it? We just need to taste your food. You tell them that?
Yeah. There's no
Taste your food.
There's no set times. There's no set salt quantities.
Pretty good.
Did you bring the sourdough bread balls?
Fuck. I think I left them at Olive Garden last night. So I had 11. Just gonna add more. Can't really, Tabasco. I'm just gonna do a dash of Worcestershire, just a little bit. I like to use fish sauce, just a little touch at the end. I think this needs just a touch more salt. It's just a taste. And to be honest, you shouldn't do this if you're not gonna serve it right away. Wait until you heat it back up and then season it again, right? Because those flavors are gonna build over time. You just wanna make sure that you're not doing anything that you can't reverse. So that's it. We did it. Chowder time. Some chive batons. Fancy. Some black pepper. A little olive oil.
Oh, buddy.
A little texture on top. Never hurt.
I mean, it's damn good. It's not as heavy and stodgy. It tastes like clam chowder in the way that it's meant to taste. This is my favorite clam chowder. I'm deciding that other clam chowder should be called clam gravy, and this is actually clam chowder.
I agree.
Ari, this is incredible. Go to Found Oyster, and you don't have to make a reservation because they don't take them. You just put your name in and drink wine on the street. Outstanding. Thank you for everything.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. Cheers, buddy.